Welcome to the 4th Pantheon of Godhome, and in my opinion, the best fight in the game. The Hollow Knight's dream fight, his final form, the Pure Vessel. This video will break down what we have to fight him with, his moveset and how to dodge each attack, when we can heal during the fight, and then how to bring it together to beat him. I'm Horizon Shield. Let's make it easy. So what are we bringing to the fight? 4th Pantheon in Godhome, I pray to everything you hold dear, you have everything at this point. 9 total health, 3 extra soul vessels, 11 charm notches, your nail upgrades, and any charm you may want. You've made it this far in the game. I trust you have an alright judgment in your charm setups. But there are several different charm builds you can use. It may require some experimenting on your part to find what you like in this fight. But experiment, that's up to you. But what do I use? I decided that Shaman Stone, Fragile Strength, Quick Slash, and Long Nail are my favorites for this fight, and the Pantheons in Godhome. We aren't relying on our spells nearly as much as the base game, because we can't lose our Fragile Strength if we die, since the entire Godhome is all a dream fight. So changing slightly from my traditional setup, we swap it up a little to fit in Fragile Charm into our setup. This is my go-to setup for every single Pantheon. Now that you've got your setup, it's time to tango. So on to the fight. What can the Pure Vessel actually do? Well, to be frank, he's the terminator of your hopes and dreams. This is the version of the Hollow Knight that he should have been. Gone is the infection and breaks between moves, and gone is the easy mode. So let's break it down. The Vessel has 3 phases, but there are no breaks to show them. The only time that you know you've transitioned phases is when he shows into attack. So let's start at the beginning. The first move is a lunge, the same as before. He telegraphs it by crouching down with his nail pointed at you. Dodge this attack by jumping over him. You can even pogo his head as he passes under you to deal damage. If you chase to his finishing location, you can get a second nail swing in as well. Due to the speed of this attack, I would recommend hitting him with your nail to make this attack consistent to deal with in case you don't have the soul to D-Dark. The second move is a triple slash. The telegraph is him raising his nail behind him away from the ground. This attack is going to be one of the hardest to dodge in this version of the fight. The fast telegraph is the reason this fight is tough. Every other attack is easy to deal with. This attack is virtually identical to the first time around. There are only 2 ways to dodge this, jump over it or dodge through him. Dodging through is tricky though. His hitbox is a chunky one, and there's a good chance you may not go all the way through him and end up hitting the edge of his hitbox if you don't start at the right spot. So the preferred way to dodge this is to jump over it. There's another reason to not dodge through him, as it uses the Shade Cloak iframe and puts it on cooldown. You may need the Shade Cloak to dodge another attack depending on Pure Vessel's follow-up move. So we choose to jump over instead. You can either jump and pogo, or jump and then dash over it. You can jump and pogo the Hollow Knight's head, and or the nail, making the tink sound. When you start your jump, start jumping away from him to give yourself extra time and to not run into the swing as he does it. Don't swing wildly as you go over, or you will fall back down onto his head and get hurt. You cannot just jump over the swing, as he hits you with the backswing if you don't attack or dash. It's going to take some practice, I'm not gonna lie, but you can make it pretty consistent in this fight. The third move is his parry. He parries just exactly the same way he did before. He moves his nail in front of him at an angle. It's easy, just don't swing into it. If you do hit it, I recommend dodging through, not away, unless you want to get hit. He's vulnerable for a single swing after he lowers his nail every single time he does it. His 4th attack is called Soul Pillars. It's the same move as his Diving Flame Pillar from before. The Vessel jumps or teleports close to the knight and slams down, causing pillars to erupt after a brief pause. The pillars are spaced the exact same way as they were before, meaning they are spaced evenly throughout the arena, starting outward from the knight. They're always the same spacing outward from the Pure Vessel every single time. It's super consistent, you just have to get used to it. So if you're in front of him, a safe spot is roughly a single nail swing away from the Vessel. It's also possible to dodge by using the frames from the D-Dark attack. It may be a better option for you depending on where you are when the attack is telegraphed, and if you're just going to fall on one of the spikes or not. His 5th attack is the Soul Daggers. Attacking similar to the Barrage from the Hollow Knight, this one is actually easier to dodge than the original version. To dodge this attack, one of the most consistent ways to dodge is standing on the ground and then Shade Cloak dash through the bottom dagger. Don't try to jump and dash, it just adds an unnecessary step to the move. Stay on the ground, and it decreases the variables of having to jump in between the daggers or even trying to jump and dash through them. Going above the attack is not viable, as it was during the first fight, as is how fast the daggers come out. So to do damage consistently, just dash through the daggers and swing at the knight. Roughly halfway through the fight, the Pure Vessel gains a new attack. This attack is Focus. Similar to the knight, he stands still and focuses soul in the area around him. The difference is that the attack is outlined in a sphere directly around the vessel. The attack is followed by smaller circles of exploding soul around the arena. They are all outlined in similar manners to the first. To dodge the attack, you can either dash out of the radius of the explosion, or you can de-dark an iframe through it. I suggest dashing out, as it isn't relying on soul for every dodge. The vessel remains immobile during the attack and roughly halfway through the smaller explosions as well. This means he's open to attack after finishing the large explosion, so dash in and attack with the nail. The final real attack comes at about a quarter health. It brings the Void Tendrils into the fight. These tendrils come over half of the arena and hit low and partially high. This leaves very little wiggle room in the response. This means that if you dodge them, the only real way to do it is jump over them. I suggest doing a double jump, as it gives plenty of wiggle room in your response. This means that the common follow-up attack is going to be a D-Dark right on top of them, and it gives you iframes to dash out of his hitbox as well. I will note here that the Void Tendrils don't actually cover the whole arena, so if you're far enough away, you won't get hit by them. He also has a couple of simple movement skills to get around the arena. They aren't really attacks, but they do exist. He still has a jump to close the distance to the knight, and it is entirely possible that he will land on you to deal damage, so be careful about running away to heal. He also likes to teleport around in this fight, so you can't really catch a break unless you stagger him. He even has a simple backstep that lets him move away from the knight if he wants to do a long range attack. If the worst happens and we get hit, when can we heal? The healing spots are roughly the same as the first fight, but remember the golden rule of only healing once per opportunity, or else you may have a rough time. As with most bosses, the easiest time to heal is during his stagger. It is also possible to heal during the focus attack as long as you don't stand inside the explosion circles. Honestly, that's about it for the healing in this fight. If you want to try and run away and heal, there's a chance he will either jump or teleport above you for an attack, so I can't advise it. There are not a ton of opportunities that can be used to heal in this fight. He will actively punish you if you try to heal outside the save points. So how are we going to bring it together and finish the fight? Well, I'm going to be honest with you here. The first time you tried it this fight, it's going to kick you in the teeth hard, and it's going to hurt. But after knowing what to do during each of his moves, it eventually becomes a very fluid fight that is considered one of the best in the game, right next to Nightmare King Grim. If you are having any trouble with the fight, turn down the music and turn up the audio for the fight. Each of his attacks is accompanied by an audio cue unique to the attack. It is a huge help when you can't fully see the move he's telegraphing if he's off screen. This fight might feel harder simply because he does 2 damage per hit. Since you made it to the Pantheon, you can go practice the fight until you're satisfied with it. I suggest beating him twice, or if not 3 times in a row, on ascended difficulty before attempting the fight in the Pantheon of the Night. This isn't the last time you'll face him, and it's always harder at the end of the Pantheon. It also helps if you take the fight or 2 and don't actually try to attack him. Just go into the arena and dodge every single attack and see how long you can last. This helps you control your dodges without actually worrying about the damage you're doing. Your spells are always some of your heaviest hitters, so try not to forget about them. Using an Abyss Shriek is one of the most viable ways to damage the vessel when he's not moving, either during a stagger or after a focus attack. Just waddle up next to him and shriek. Just try not to step into his hitbox by accident. It's a chunky one, I'm not gonna lie. His head is massive. Using D-Dark is also a great way to dodge his attacks and get some damage in. It's one of the most powerful spells you have, so try to use it to your advantage. In particular, D-Dark can be used for the iframes through most of his attacks. Time it well, and you can be invulnerable through nearly every one of his attacks. However, it's not necessary the entire time. Now for a couple of ground rules. 1. Dodge through, not away. When you try to dodge through him, make sure you're standing close enough that you can actually get behind him after the dodge is finished. Because if you dodge away, he will actually go far enough in his attacks that he's going to hit you when you run. This fight shows the culmination of everything that you've learned during your time at Hollow Knight. It is one of the most fluid fights in the game, and you should feel good when you finally beat him. After a well-fought victory, there is one final climb in Hollow Knight. So let me ask you, can you ascend to the greatest challenge in the Hollow Nest? If this was helpful, feel free to like and subscribe to see me break down the last boss in the game. Until then, happy hunting.